Hello everyone, welcome to National Standard Examination in Junior Science 2015 Physics Solutions. Which of the following graphs is correct for a particle moving in circle of radius r at a speed v? A is magnitude of acceleration. Speed of the particle in circular path is given to be v, radius of the circular path is r. Centripetal acceleration of the particle A equal to v square by r, from which we can write A is proportional to v square. So this is equation of a parabola. The centripetal acceleration is responsible for changing the direction of velocity of the particle as it is going in circular path. The magnitude of centripetal acceleration is constant, but its direction changes continuously as it is always directed towards the center of the circular path. Light rays travel from medium x to medium y as shown in figure. Then both the speed and frequency decrease. Speed increases and frequency decreases. Speed decreases and wavelength decreases. Speed decreases and wavelength increases. As light travels from one medium to another medium, the frequency does not change because it depends on the source. As seen from the figure, light bends towards the normal in medium y, indicating that y is a denser medium. So the speed of light in y is less than that in x. So the speed of light decreases as the light goes from x to y. As the frequency is constant and speed is proportional to wavelength, so as speed is decreasing, the wavelength also decreases. So the correct option is C. A particle moves along x-axis according to x equal to 6t square, where x is displacement in meter and t is time in seconds. Therefore, the acceleration of the particle is 6 meter per second square. The particle follows a parabolic path. Each second the velocity changes by 9.8 meter per second. The velocity of the particle is 6 meter per second at t equal to 0.5 seconds. Given the displacement of the particle x equal to 6t square, the velocity of the particle is obtained by differentiating the displacement equation with respect to time, v equal to dx by dt, which comes out to be 12t. At t equal to 0.5 seconds, velocity comes out to be 6 meter per second square. The acceleration of the particle A equal to dv by dt, which comes out to be 12 meter per second square. So the correct option is D. The reaction force does not cancel the action force because the action force is greater than the reaction force. The reaction force exists only after the action force is removed. The reaction force is greater than the action force. They act on different bodies. According to Newton's third law, for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. The action force and the reaction force are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Even then, they don't cancel each other because they act on different bodies. Consider an object of mass m placed on a surface. The weight, that is gravitational force of the object, acts on the surface, that is action. The surface gives an equal reaction to the object. A stone is thrown horizontally and follows xyz path as shown in figure. The direction of the acceleration of the stone at point y is. As we can see from the diagram, the object is moving under gravity. Acceleration due to gravity always acts downward direction. Irrespective of the position of the object and its direction of motion, acceleration due to gravity acts always in the downward direction only. So objects moving under gravity, you can take a freely falling body, G is acting downwards. Vertically projected body, G is acting downwards. Oblique projectile and horizontal projectile also, G acts downwards. The diagram shows total internal reflection. Which of the following statements is not true? As we can see from the diagram, angle of incidence is the angle between incident ray and normal, that is AON. Angle of reflection is the angle between reflected ray and normal, that is BON. According to laws of reflection, the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, that is AON equal to BON. Total internal reflection takes place when light travels from denser medium to rarer medium. When the angle of incidence is equal to the critical angle, the ray OB grazes the surface of separation. So C is the correct option. The center of gravity of a body coincides with its center of mass. It happens always. It never happens. If G is uniform over the body, then it is possible. If the body has a uniform mass distribution, then it is possible. Center of mass is that point where the entire mass of the object is supposed to be concentrated. Center of gravity is that point from which the resultant gravitational force acts. If the acceleration due to gravity is uniform over the entire body, generally this happens in the case of objects occupying smaller area, then the center of mass and center of gravity will coincide with each other. A body is in equilibrium under the combined action of several forces. Then all the forces must be parallel at the same point. All the forces form pairs of equal and opposite forces. The sum of torques about any point must always be equal to 0. The line of action of all the forces must pass through the center of gravity of the body. For translational equilibrium, net force acting on the body should be 0. For rotational equilibrium, net torque acting on the body is 0. For a particle to be in equilibrium, it is sufficient that the net force is 0 because torque does not act on a particle or point mass. For a rigid body to be in equilibrium, net force as well as net torque should be 0 so that the body can be in translational equilibrium as well as rotational equilibrium. A photo frame can be hung on a wall with the string in 3 different ways as shown in figure. The tension in the string is least in case 1, greatest in case 2, greatest in case 3, least in case 3. Weight of the photo frame W equal to mg is balanced by vertical component of tension in the string. So 2t sin theta equal to mg. From there t equal to mg by 2 sin theta. So the tension in the string is inversely proportional to sin theta. In the case of frame 2, where theta is 90, sin theta equal to 1, maximum value of sine function. So t is a minimum. For frame 1, theta is greater than that in frame 3. So t is less than that in frame 3. So the tension is greatest in frame 3. If a force acting is conservative only when work done by this force is 0 when the particle moves once around the closed path, it obeys Newton's third law. Its work is the change in kinetic energy of the particle. It is not a frictional force. Conservative force may be defined in 2 ways. Work done by the force is independent of path taken by the particle. Work done by the force in taking a particle in a closed path is 0. So the work done along all the 3 paths is the same. W1 equal to W2 equal to W3. A lift moving up at constant speed. Consider the following statements. The tension in the string is constant. The kinetic energy of the elevator is constant. The gravitational potential energy of the earth lift system is constant. The acceleration of the elevator is 0. The mechanical energy of the earth lift system is constant. The tension in the lift cable when it is accelerating is given by T equal to m of g plus or minus a. As the lift is moving with constant speed, acceleration is 0, so the tension equal to mg. As the speed is constant, kinetic energy half mv square is constant and acceleration is 0. Two toy cars A and B fixed with the springs at front collide as shown in figure. Car A has a mass of 200 gram and is initially moving towards right. Car B has a mass of 300 gram and is initially at rest. When the separation between the cars is minimum, during the collision, the two springs connected to the cars undergo compression. When the separation between the cars is minimum, the springs have undergone maximum compression. At this moment, the system of cars will be moving as a single entity with common velocity, that is a perfectly inelastic collision. Total mechanical energy of the system remains constant in a collision event. So mechanical energy is sum of potential energy and kinetic energy. As the springs are under maximum compression, they have maximum potential energy. That is, elastic potential energy stored in a spring is a half kx square. So the kinetic energy of the system is at minimum. A concave mirror has a focal length of 12 cm. If an object is placed 6 cm in front of it, the position of the image will be. Focal length of the concave mirror is given to be 12 cm. Object distance is 6 cm. Applying mirror formula 1 by v plus 1 by u equal to 1 by f, we get v equal to 12 cm. That is, the image distance came out to be positive, indicating that it is formed behind the mirror. When the image is formed behind the mirror, in the case of concave mirror, the image is virtual, upright and magnified. In the following passage, some concepts about electrical circuit analysis are discussed. Based on this, answer the following questions. When two or more conductors meet at a point, it is called a junction. At junctions, there should not be any accumulation of charges. This implies that the net current entering the junction should be equal to net current leaving the junction. Statement 2. In a closed circuit having resistors and batteries, the sum of voltages across the resistors will be equal to the net electromotive force. This follows from the principle of conservation of energy. The current I in the branch as shown in figure is. See the diagram carefully. Applying Kirchhoff's current law, sum of the currents flowing into the junction equal to sum of the currents flowing out of the junction. Consider the junction Y. It is 6 equal to 3 plus I dash, from where we get I dash equal to 3 ampere. Consider junction Z. 3 plus 1.5 equal to I plus 0.5, from where we get I equal to 4 ampere. A closed circuit shown in figure includes a resistance 20 ohm and a battery of 3 volt EMF and internal resistance 1 ohm. The internal resistance of the battery can be considered in series with it. The voltage drop across the 20 ohm resistor is. Total resistance of the circuit, that is external resistance plus internal resistance, 20 plus 1, that is comes out to be 21 ohm. Current flowing through the circuit I equal to V by R, so that is 3 by 21. Voltage drop across 20 ohm resistor V20 is I into 20, that is 3 by 21 into 20. Upon simplification we get 2.857 volt. A circuit which is used for charging a battery is as shown in figure. The battery B has an EMF of 6 volt and an internal resistance of 2 ohm. The charging battery A has an EMF of 9 volt and an internal resistance of 1 ohm. The voltage across the points P and Q is. The charging battery is 9 volt 1 ohm. The battery being charged is 6 volt 2 ohm. The current in the circuit is I equal to V by R, that is 9 minus 6 by 1 plus 2, that comes out to be 1 ampere. Applying Kirchhoff's loop theorem from P to Q, we get Vp minus 6 minus 1 into 2 minus Vq equal to 0, which gives us Vp minus Vq equal to 8 volt. The circuit shown in figure consists of an external resistance of 10 ohm connected across two batteries of EMF 6 volt and 9 volt with internal resistance 1 ohm each. The power dissipated in the 10 ohm resistance is. Apply Kirchhoff's loop theorem to find the current through 10 ohms resistance. For the first loop we get minus 10 of I1 minus I2 minus 1 into I1 plus 9 equal to 0. For the second loop minus 6 minus 1 into I2 minus 10 of I2 minus I1 equal to 0. Solving the two equations, we have I1 equal to 13 by 7 ampere and I2 equal to 8 by 7 ampere. The net current flowing through the resistance is I1 minus I2, which comes out to be 5 by 7 ampere. Now the power dissipated in the resistor P equal to I square R, which comes out to be 5.1 watt. The coefficient of linear expansion of steel is 11 into 10 power minus 6 per degree centigrade. The percentage change in the length of the rod when the temperature changes by 70 degrees is. Linear expansion of the solid is defined in terms of coefficient of linear expansion as alpha equal to L2 minus L1 by L1 into T2 minus T1, from where we get the percentage change in length delta L by L into 100 as alpha delta T into 100, which comes out to be 0.077 percentage. A cube of side 4 cm made up of wood is floating in water of density 1 gram per cc. When a small steel ball is embedded in the cube, it just immerses in water. If density of wood is 0.76 gram per cc, then mass of the steel ball is. Applying laws of flotation, downward gravitational force equal to upward buoyancy force. The gravitational force mwg plus mbg, where mw is mass of the wooden block and mb is the mass of the steel ball. Buoyancy force on the system v liquid rho liquid into g, that comes out to be 64g. For equilibrium, gravitational force should be equal to buoyancy force, from where we get mass of the steel ball equal to 15.36 gram. A swing playing with a small amplitude can be considered as a simple pendulum. Such a swing is said to oscillate with an amplitude A and frequency F. When it is at its mean position, a box of same mass as that of the seat of the swing is dropped onto it and it starts moving with the swing. Choose the correct statement. Amplitude is reduced to half of its initial value and frequency is doubled. Amplitude is reduced to half of its initial value and frequency is unchanged. Amplitude doubles and frequency is unchanged. Amplitude remains same and frequency is half of its initial value. Frequency of oscillation is independent of mass of the bob, F equal to 1 by 2 pi root L by G. Applying conservation of momentum at mean position, mu equal to m plus m into v, from which we get v equal to u by 2. Maximum velocity that happens to be at mean position, Vmax equal to omega a. So Vmax is directly proportional to amplitude. So we get V by U equal to A by A dash, from where we get A dash equal to A by 2.